Hello ladies and gentlemen, to all of you who are following the birth chart series. As promised, I'm getting back to the final lessons on the numerology birth chart. This is the lesson 7. In my previous lessons, I discussed various patterns in a birth chart. The first lesson was about how you could be making the birth chart at the first place and what is the importance of the birth chart. Why just knowing the life path number and few other core numbers is not sufficient, and why do you need to decode the complete equation. The first lesson is a must watch, and the link to all the lessons for that matter of fact in the series is provided in the description box below. In this log, I'd like to talk about the 3 rows. We've already discussed the 3 columns and the 2 diagonals. In this log, let us learn what does the presence or absence of numbers in the 3 rows indicate. We already know that this is the mind plane. Permanent houses for the numbers 3, 6 and 9 makes this plane. Then we have the soul plane, and permanent houses for the numbers 2, 5 and 8 makes this plane. And finally, this is the basic plane, and permanent houses for the numbers 1, 4 and 7 makes this plane. Let us begin with the mind plane and the numbers 3, 6 and 9. If in a date of birth all these 3 numbers are present, that is, if all these 3 boxes of the mind plane are occupied, obviously you can guess it means strength of mind. Obviously it means that, or it can mean a very active mind. And there can be 2 sides to a strong mental activity or a very active mind. That is, the person can be thinking positively and even negatively. Positively, this translates into high intelligence and a very, very strong memory. Negatively, the same mind can either be very lazy or destructive. An active mind means that the person is continuously thinking, and it could be good, it could be bad, but the person is continuously analyzing, processing, and sometimes even over-processing. When they over-process, they might even become irritable, they might get headaches, and they could be exhausting their brains. Children with such patterns are seen to be extremely intelligent and are often the toppers of their classes. The advantage of intellect that they have over other people makes them a bit snobbish even. People with this pattern would specially seem to be excelling in mathematics and other subjects which are based on analysis and research. Now let us come to just the reverse of this pattern. Say if all the 3 squares do not have any numbers. Now all of us who are born in the 20th century will not have this pattern because there will be at least 1 9 present, as the century number naturally has it. People born in the 21st century are more likely to be having this pattern, that is the absence of any numbers in the mind plane. And now you could be jumping into the conclusion that if all the numbers present means intense mental activities, then this should mean no mental activities, or maybe the person cannot think. Well, it definitely does not mean that, but it can be indicative of a lesser active mind and poor memory. So a person with this pattern, due to his poor memory, needs to constantly work upon his memory to keep it active. In the same way, even intelligence quotient can be improved by constant hard work and practice. There has to be a lot of practice over and over again. Mental alertness has to be maintained and mind has to be continuously stimulated. Another way of countering this is incorporating the missing numbers in some way in the letters of the name. Children who are born with this pattern would need some special training, and the parents will have to be very, very patient with them. I know it is tough, but the parents have to show a lot of patience in developing their attention span, concentration, and memory. You see, there are different kinds of people. Some have strong minds, others may have slow minds, but very strong intuitions. In the 21st century, what we will have for sure is a 2 in the soul plane powered by a 0, which gives more power to the soul plane. Now this brings me to the next pattern. What if all the squares in the soul plane are occupied? Well, The soul plane governs emotions, expressions, and the depth of spiritual understanding, and when all these squares are occupied, a person is able to strike a balance of emotions, intuitions, and spiritual understanding of life. With a powerful control of emotions, such a person can show excellent acting prowess. He will be very effective with expressions. This person will be able to play different emotional roles in his life, but he has to be very careful about not letting the emotions control him. With profound spiritual understanding, this person may as well become a counselor or a healer. Children who would have this pattern will have a very, very impressionable mind. Their capability of sensing the emotional atmosphere around them will be very strong. They will be like antenna absorbing the invisible signals all the time, so the parents have to be very careful. Little disharmony or conflict around them will profoundly disturb them and drive them to their shells. Now let us come to just the reverse of the same pattern. What if all these three numbers are missing? Now once again, don't jump into conclusions. Absence of mind numbers in the mind plane doesn't mean no mind, and absence of soul numbers doesn't mean no soul. It only means emotional and spiritual imbalance. Children with this pattern during their early life will be very sensitive and shy, and they will be prone towards getting hurt. If they are not handled with care, they will obviously get hurt and feel terrible, and slowly they will learn to mask their emotions, and they will build strong walls around them which no one will be able to penetrate on an emotional level. They will also have inferiority complex during early life. However, as they grow up and they mature, they may come out of it, or maybe they will learn to mask it perfectly. They might learn to manipulate conversations in order to protect themselves from getting hurt. They would find it very difficult to show true emotions, which they actually have, but they don't want you to know, so that you don't get to hurt them on an emotional level, so that you don't get to know their emotional vulnerabilities. Human mind is really very complicated. Now that brings me to the final row of 1, 4 and 7. This is the basic plane or the physical plane, and when in a birth chart all these squares are occupied, it is called the line of practicality. These people are often eager to be physically doing things. They want to be the doers, always ready to act. Also, these people have a materialistic and a practical drive. They will be chasing materialistic and practical goals. Specifically, if their life path also happens to be one of these numbers, 1, 4 or 7, they might appear to be having lack of feelings, say if there are no numbers in the soul plane. And sometimes they may even act without much thought, if the mind plane is weak, that is. These are all physically motivated people wanting physical action, practical action all the time. Now what happens if there are no numbers in these squares? Now you see, I too have a lot of numbers in the physical plane, which makes me a doer, and I believe, well, this is my belief, yours could be different. I believe that the greatest gratification one can have is by giving a tangible shape to his ideas, by translating his ideas into physical reality. And with all numbers missing in the physical plane, a person will be unable to give shape to his feelings and to his ideas. And this definitely, maybe it hints towards disorder, because basically the person could just ideate and he will be able to do nothing tangible. If there is a handicap, I really empathize with your situation, but if not, the person needs to be pushed to be doing something. Maybe the upcoming times will open up avenues for all kinds of people. My parents didn't even imagine that one day I will become a YouTuber and will be able to express myself like this. Even I didn't think of it. So you never know basically. There are various avenues. But as of today, the greatest satisfaction that the humankind gets is through creating. Creating sets us apart. So children with this pattern definitely need a very strong name to balance this, and with that they also need to be encouraged to be doing a lot of physical activities and to complete their tasks on time. Now this brings me to the final pattern in the birth chart series, and many people would be having it. I have it, and this pattern is having no clear line pattern at all. All planes would have some numbers and no clear line pattern will form. Now when you have this, it means you are a very easygoing person and you fit in almost in any situation. You're very adaptable, you're very adjustable, and sometimes you're also taken for granted. And because come what may, you're always happy, you're always fitting into what other people want. Now, what I see as a problem with this is if you always are adjusting for other people, what is basically is happening is other people are getting what they want from you. So sometimes it is important to not adjust and ask for what you want. So with this, I complete the birth chart series. I like completing whatever I start. And once something gets completed, I am at a loss of ideas, and it'll be nice if you could suggest something what I could do next. I'd love to work upon that. I hope you've liked the birth chart series. It is a bit of advanced numerology, but very accurate and useful. All of you who want accurate remedies and are looking for accurate name change solutions must not miss any of the lessons. If you find it useful, please hit a like. To keep in touch, subscribe to the channel or like my FB page, the link to which is right below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Have a very good day.